60 plus days since the war and the aggression and the Israeli and Western aggression on Palestine and Gaza began, and we are still here asking for the same and demanding the same call, which is a ceasefire, which is to stop the bloodshed and the mutilation and the genocide of our Palestinian brothers and sisters and little children and babies. And when we ponder about this, we think about many examples and ibar and lessons from the Quran. We think about, for example, Ashab al-Ukhdud, the people of the trenches, the people that threw the believers in the trenches. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us and narrates to us in Surah Al-Buruj, in fact. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْمَوْعُودِ وَشَاهِدٍ وَمَشْهُودٍ قُتِلَ أَصْحَابُ الْأُخْدُودِ النَّارِ ذَاتِ الْوَقُودِ إِذْ هُمْ عَلَيْهَا قُعُودٌ وَهُمْ عَلَى مَا يَفْعَلُونَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ شُهُودٌ وَمَا نَقَمُوا مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَن يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ الَّذِي لَهُ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ شَهِيدٌ. So Allah tells us in this beautiful surah, by the sky with its towering constellations, by the promised day, by the witness and that which is witnessed, damned were the markers of the trench, cursed. Qutil ashab al-ukhdud means they were cursed. May the curse of Allah be upon those that gathered the believers and threw them into a burning trench. In fact, they even sat down. Allah says they sat down, meaning the disbelievers, the kuffar, sat down to even watch it, the whole world, and they were watching the believers die and burn in this trench. So like it was entertainment. And their only grievance and problem with the believers was what? That they had faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And yu'minu billahi al-aziz al-hamid. That they believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it, the mighty and the praiseworthy. That's why they sought some form of vengeance against them and wanted to kill the believers. So I want to narrate this story because this is an inspiration for all of us, my brothers and sisters. Qissat al-Ghulam wal-Malik, the story as is known of the boy and the king. And this is the background. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in a lengthy hadith mentions to us what happened with the story of the boy and the king. Surah Al-Buruj, you would see, why is this so relevant for us today in what we see with the Palestinian and the Palestinian brothers and sisters of ours? So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said there was a king, Malik min Bani Israel, a king from Bani Israel. And he, subhanAllah, had a sahir. He had a sahir meaning a magician. And he would the magician would give him different sihr and tricks, right? And magic spells. And then this king would say to people, Ana Rabbukum, I am your Lord. And people believed him. So this king, this sahir, he became quite old. And because he became quite old, he said to the king, I need to teach this sihr to someone. I need a protege. I need an apprentice, a student. So I can teach this sihr to, so you can continue claiming that you are Allah and to say that you are the Lord of the worlds. Na'udhu billah min dhalik. And what happened was, there was a boy that was taken under the arms of the sahir, of the magician. And he learned everything from the magician, from the sahir. All the tricks and all the sihr and all the, whether you put it, black magic and the deceptions as the sorcerers do. And he was a very good student, in fact, subhanallah. But upon an occasion, هذا الغلام كان يمر على بيت ودار من عابد من عباد الله سبحانه وتعالى. He was in fact a rahib. He was passing by and he heard a sound, as narration mentions, and he came across a rahib, an abid, a worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said to this worshipper, who are you? What do you do? He says, I worship Allah, and everything belongs to Allah. I only worship Allah. I don't worship this king. And so what this young boy used to do, he used to pass by the house of this abid and learn about Tawheed, learn about Al-Islam and the meaning of Al-Islam. And then he believed. He believed in the teachings of the abid of Al-Islam. وَاعْتَنَقَ الْإِسْلَامُ وَأَسْلَمَ. And he actually embraced Islam. So what happened was, when he used to go to the sahir, because he complained to the abid. He says, when I go to the sahir, the magician, he rebukes me and scolds me and shouts at me because I'm late, because I'm with you. And when I go to my family, إِلَى بَيْتْ أَهْلِ كَذَلِكَ يَفْعَلُونَ. They do the same thing. So the abid said to him, when you go to the sahir, the magician said to him, حَبَسَنِي أَهْلِ. that my family, they are the ones that kept me in their home, hence why I'm late to you today. And when you go to your family and you are late, say to them, حَبَسَنِي السَّاحِرُ, that the sahir, the magician, he has kept me with him today when I'm learning his lessons, hence why I'm late. But whatever you do, don't tell them about me. Don't tell them about the abid or the rahib. Do not tell them about this worshipper, sincere worshipper and abid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So upon an occasion, they were passing, subhanallah, there was a path, people were walking past, and it was blocked. There was a big, daba. There was a very big daba. There was a very big animal, like a beast, and it was blocking the path. People could not pass. And then this young boy, subhanallah, he had the opportunity, and he wanted to test, is his faith true or not? So then he said, Allahumma in kana amru rahib ahabba ilayka min amr sahib, فَاقْتُلْ هَذِهِ الدَّابَةِ حَتَّى يَمْضِيَ النَّاسِ. Oh Allah, if the matter and the affair of the abid, the worshipper of Allah, your servant, is true and upon more beloved to you than the practice and methodology of the sahir, the magician, then allow me to kill this big animal and beast which is blocking people, so then people can pass. فَرَمَاهَا. So then he shot the arrow. He had an arrow in his hand. When he said this, he shot the arrow, فَقَتَلَهَا. And then he killed the big animal. He killed the beast. Subhanallah. And then he was convinced. خلاص. أمر الراهب هو على الحق. أمر الراهب حق. So the matter and the affair and the way of life and the worship of the abid, that is true. Not the way of the sahib and the magician. It's Islam. So people began to say, Subhanallah, فَقَالَ لَهُ الرَّاهِبُ أَيُّ بُنَيَّ أَنْتَ يَوْمَ أَفْضَلُ مِنِّي. Oh my son, today you are better than me. You are better than me. قَدْ بَلَغَ مِنْ أَمْرِكَ مَا أَرَى وَإِنَّكَ سَتُبْتَلَى. So the rahib, his abid, said to him, my son, today, oh young boy, you have become better than me. Because now everyone has seen what you have done, and they saw that you did it based on tawheed. But remember, from today, because of this iman that you have, you're going to be tested. Tubtala, you are going to be tested. And he says, فَإِنْ أُبْتَلِيتَ فَلَا تَدُلَّ عَلَيَّ. However, if you are tested, do not point towards me. Meaning, don't tell the king, don't tell anyone about me. He wants to remain a secret, the abid, right? Because people were worshipping the king, and it was dangerous for him to be calling towards tawheed and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what happened is, subhanallah, people gathered, and they were, subhanallah, very impressed by this ghulam. وَكَانَ الْغُلَامُ يُبْرِئُ الْأَكْمَاءَ وَالْبَرْصِ وَيُدَاوِي النَّاسِ. He used to then also heal people. This young boy began to heal people. Very similar to Isa alayhi salam. He used to heal the leper. He used to heal one who has leprosy. He used to heal people that were blind, right? Al-a'ma. And any issues they had. And then when he used to heal them, they used to say, هَذَا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is with Allah's permission, I can only do this. فَسَمِعَ جَلِيسٌ لِلْمَلِكِ كَانَ قَدْ عُمِيَ. And there was one of the people that was in the gatherings of the king. He heard about this, and he was actually blind. He was also blind. So he went to this boy, because he heard that this young boy who can now heal people from blindness and from leprosy and from all types of ailments and illnesses. So he actually went to see the boy, and he said, tell me a bit about yourself. Can you help me? Tell me a bit about yourself. He goes, yes, I can, but there's one condition. If I do this, فَأَنْتَ آمَنْتَ بِاللَّهِ. Okay? You need to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And it's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِنَّمَا يَشْفِي Allah. It is only Allah that gives shifa. So then, with Allah's permission, this young boy made dua that this person can see again. And yes, he could see again, subhanallah. Then he went back to the Malik, and the Malik said, who are you? What is this? And you can see again. He goes, yes. He goes, okay, what happened? He goes, there's a young boy, he made dua for me, and through Allah for me, so I can see again. And that's what happened. And the Malik said, you only worship me, you don't worship anyone but me. He goes, no, I worship Allah. Amantu billah, I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's it. He is the one that killed me, as the boy said. So then he was killed. Even though he was from his gatherings and sittings and he was from his people, he killed him. And this is what happened. And the boy was called and summoned. And then also there was the rahib, the abid that was also discovered. The teacher, the scholar, the abid, the worship of Allah was also discovered, and they were both killed. And they were killed according to the hadith in the most very violent of manners, subhanAllah. It is mentioned in the hadith in the fact the Prophet Muhammad said, the Prophet said, فَدَعَا بِالْمِنْشَارِ. So the king, دَعَا بِالْمِنْشَارِ, he literally called his soldiers with a minshar, which is a massive, big sword. فَوَضَعَ الْمِنْشَارَ فِي مَفْرِقِ رَأْسِهِ فَشَقَّهُ حَتَّى وَقَعَ شِقَّاهُ. So he actually got this huge sword and he cut the Abid in half. Literally. Because they believed in La ilaha illallah. And the one that was from his people that was blind and now could see, he did the same thing and said to him, Irji' an dinik, give up Islam. Stop believing in this Islam. And he said, no, Abba. He rejected it, Abba. Because he said, no, Amantu billah, Allah is my Lord. Not you, Allah. And he also cut him in half and killed him. And then what we have from this is then the king became very upset. He realized people are now saying, I believe in Allah. They don't believe in him anymore. So he called the boy and he said to the boy, what are you calling towards? He says, I worship Allah, I don't worship you. And everything I do is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he ordered the soldiers to kill him. He ordered his soldiers to kill him. And he said to his soldiers, take him to the highest place. فإذا يعني خذه فاصعدوا به الجبل فإذا بلغتم ذروته فإن رجعت عن دينه إلا فاطرحوه. Take him to the highest point of the mountain. And if he does not apostate, leave Islam, the religion of Islam, and worship me again, then throw him off. Throw him off the building, throw him off the top of the mountain. So what this famous dua, this boy, Al-Ghulam made, famous dua, and this is why the Prophet Muhammad taught us to all make when we are afraid of an enemy or maybe an enemy is going to overcome us. The Prophet Muhammad also made this dua when Suraqah ibn Malik was behind him when he and Abu Bakr, the Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr made hijrah from Mecca to Medina, and there were only the two of them. And Suraqah had been paid by Quraysh and Mushrikeen to find them, to locate them, to assassinate them. And the Prophet Muhammad made this dua, and Suraqah fell. The camel that he was riding on, the horse literally fell, and he could do nothing, he was powerless. And this dua is, Allahumma kfinihim bima shit. Allahumma kfinihim bima shit. Oh Allah, be a protector and be sufficient for me, and protect me as you will from these people. And because the boy said this dua, all the soldiers around him fell off the cliff in the mountain, whereas the boy was still alive. But the boy went back to the king. وَالسُّؤَالِ لِمَاذَا رَجَعَ إِلَى الْمَلِكِ لِمَاذَا لَمْ يَهْرُبْ. Why is it that he went back to the king and he did not run away? Why? Because the ulama say this boy was صاحب الرسالة. He had a mission. He had a message of La ilaha illallah and Tawheed to deliver to the people. So he had a message. He went back to the king and he said, I'm still here, I'm still alive. He said, why have you not died? And then the king got very angry. And then he said to his soldiers, this time, take him to the Bahr, to the middle of the Bahr, في وسط البحر, فاطرحوه في البحر, and throw him in the Bahr if he does not, إذا لم يرجع دينه. Of course, he did not leave his deen. He continued worshipping Allah, saying, آمنت بالله, Allahu khaliqi wa khaliquk. Allah is my creator, your creator, not you. So what he did, the boy, he made the same dua. Allahumma kfinihim bima shit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, protect me, as you are the most sufficient of those that protects, however you wish and you will, from these people. So they all fell out of the boat and drowned, but he was alive. He was still alive, and he went back to the king again. And he said to the king, you can only kill me in one way. There's only one way you can kill me. He says, قال تجمع الناس في صعيد واحد وتصلبني على جذع ثم خذ سهما من كنانة ثم ضع السهم في كبد القوس ثم قل. So you need to gather people. First, what you have to do, if you want to really kill me, you need to gather a lot of people to watch. Tie me to the palm tree, and when you tie me to the palm tree, you get your arrow out of the bow, and you say this dua. And this is the king, he's telling the king, you say this dua. And the king did this. And the king said, Bismillahi Rabbil Ghulam. In the name of Allah, the Lord of this boy. ثم ارمني فإنك إذا فعلت ذلك فقد قتلتني. And then you shoot the arrow. When you say Bismillah Rabbil Ghulam, you shoot the arrow and then you kill me. And that's exactly what happened. وَالشَّاهِدْ يَا إِخْوَةِ. And the point of all of this beautiful story is, what happened after that? How many people became Muslim? Said, آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ الْغُلَامِ. See the wisdom of this young boy. He said to the king, gather all the people around you. And they said, آمَنَّا بِرَبِّ الْغُلَامِ. We believe in the Lord of this boy. Because that's exactly the dua that he instructed the king to say when he shot the arrow and killed him. Bismillahi Rabbil Ghulam. And say, we believe in the Rabb, we believe in the Lord of this boy. We believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the king became furious. And what did he order to do? Now going back to Surah Al-Buruj, he ordered his soldiers from the Kafirin to dig a trench, a big hole in the ground, and to throw the believers and everyone that said Amantu billah wa lam yarji' an dinihi اطرحوهم في ذلك الأخدود. Throw them in that pit of fire. And they literally were thrown into the pit of fire, subhanallah. Literally thrown into the pit of fire. And there was a mother in there. The Prophet Muhammad said there was a mother and she was hesitant to jump in with a little boy. She was hesitant. She had a little boy in her arms, Radi'. Who can Radi'? And what did he say? Allah gave him the ability to speak the way He gave the ability to Isa al-Islam to speak from the mahd, from the cradle. And He said, Ya Ummah, isbri fi innaki ala al-haq. Oh my mother, have patience, for indeed you are upon the truth and haqq. And then she jumped in. And the Mufassirin mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the soul and the arwah of the believers that were all thrown into this fire, pit of fire, took their souls away before their bodies even reached the pit, before they could burn. They felt nothing. And in fact, the fire came back on them. And this is exactly what we see today and what is happening with Ahl Gaza and Palestine. How many women, men, children in fact, in the non-Muslim world, in the West, in America, in the UK, have now accepted Islam. Because when they see the sabr and the patience and the istiqamah and the steadfastness and the iman of the people of Ahl Gaza, they cannot believe it. Ahl Gaza and the people of Gaza are the manifestation, mashallah ta'ala, the practical teaching of what we see in the Quran about sabr. When Allah says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. When Allah says, we are surely going to test you from a portion of hunger, fear, calamities, loss of life and property, but give glad tidings to those that are patient. الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Those when they are afflicted with a calamity, they say, from Allah we came and to Allah we will return. أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون. They are the ones that have Allah's blessings and mercy showered upon them, and they are the ones that are truly guided. We can learn about Tawheed, brothers and sisters. We can learn about Iman. We can learn about all the different du'as in the Quran. And the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam when he was thrown into the fire and the fire was made cool for him. And he said, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Allah is sufficient and enough for us to take care of us. And He is the best of those we dispose our affairs to. But when you are tested practically in life, brothers, reading it is one thing. But when you are tested, it's something else. When we have a small problem, our car breaks down, anything, we don't know what to do. So our brothers and sisters and children have now become like al-had al-ghulam. أهل فلسطين أطفال فلسطين أصبحوا عبرة للعالمين في الصبر والاستقامة والإيمان والتوكل على الله والصبر والسلوان. They have become an absolute parable, an example, a lesson for every human being about what is patience and what is Iman and what is silwan and what is steadfastness in the deen. And this is when they say Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel, it's not like when we say it. Hence why, similar to Ashab al-Ukhdud, and this boy that said to the king, you need to kill me, only by saying Bismillahi Rabbil Ghulam. This is why we have thousands that are turning to the deen of Islam. So we don't know. Rubba durratin nafi'ah. Maybe it is something that may seem harmful, but there's a lot of benefit in it. We don't know. How many people with Allah's hikmah and wisdom are now coming to this deen and faith of Islam? So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless them and to make us like them and take from their example, inshaAllah ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, hamdan kathiran tayyiban barakan fihi kama yuhibbu rabbuna wa yarda. This is a reminder for all of us as well, brothers and sisters. We get very happy when we see people coming into the deen of Islam. كم من الناس أسلموا الآن سبحان الله بصبر وباستقامة أهل غزة وفلسطين. Allah يتقبلهم من الشهداء يا رب آمين. May Allah accept them from the shuhada, Ameen. But what about you and I? What about you and I? We can show off to people about how many people are coming to the deen of Islam. But what about you and I? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, وَإِن تَتَوَلَّوْا يَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَكُونُ أَمْثَالُكُمْ. And if you turn away, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will replace you.
Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! La ilaha illallah! Muhammadur Rasulullah!
وإن تتولوا يستبدل قوم غيركم ثم لا يكونوا أمثالكم. And if you turn away, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will replace you and change you for a different group of people, and they will not be like you. And they will not be like you, meaning they're going to be better than you and I. Brothers and sisters, if you are still not doing your salawat on time, if you're still in your 20s and 30s, if in fact you're in your 50s and 60s and you still do not have the time to turn to Allah and do khams salawat fi awqatiha, the basic fard and the right Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has upon us, that you need to question, where is your iman, brothers and sisters? Where is our iman? If the month of Ramadan comes and you still can't fast, and you're finding it hard for the siyam and the qiyam, and when it's time to give zakat, we hold on to our pockets because we don't want to give zakat to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa la sadaqah. We need to ask ourselves, where am I? Do you want to be replaced? Do you want to be replaced? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need you or I. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need you or I. We do not make this deen great. We are just a wasila. Allah will always be Allahu Akbar. Allah will always be great. So we ask Allah Ta'ala to not replace us, but in fact to make us min as-salihin, and yaj'alana Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala min as-salihin, wa min al-muttaqeen, wa min al-rashideen. Allahumma ameen. For Allah to make us amongst the righteous and the pious and the ones who have istiqamah. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-istiqamah في هذا الدين يا رب العالمين. اللهم منزل الكتاب ومجري السحاب وهازم الأحزاب اهزمهم وانصرهم عليهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم يا من لا يرد أمرك ولا يهزم جندك، اللهم عليك بصهاينة أعداء الإسلام وأعداء الدين يا رب العالمين. اللهم اهزمهم وزلزلهم، اللهم شتت شملهم وفرق جمعهم يا رب العالمين، ودمرهم دمر أعداء الدين يا رب العالمين. اللهم أرنا فيهم عجائب قدرتك. اللهم كن لأهل غزة وفلسطين عونا ونصيرا يا رب العالمين.